Welcome back to the podcast. I'm going to go with a solo episode this week, and I don't really know where this is going to go. I'm just going to kind of start talking. I got some stuff that kind of laid on my heart, I guess, and I'm gonna share a little bit. We got Father's Day coming up on June 19th, Sunday, and I think back every Father's Day to 2009 when I was kind of hugging my mom while my brother was pouring Dad's ashes into a creek. And I think about that every Father's Day as the lead in to it. And I remember that first Father's Day without my dad. He'd passed away from cancer, and by the time they'd caught the cancer, it was always stage 4. It was already stage 4, and there was really not a whole lot they could do. They started some chemotherapy down in Tucson, and I had put in to get jobs. I'd applied for teaching jobs in Arizona because I thought that this is going to be a long type thing, because they'd said he probably has about 2 years, and so I was planning on moving down there, kind of being with Mom and being with him as they were going through this. And I actually didn't get a job, and that was probably good, I guess. Mom was thinking about what she was going to do, but what was supposed to be 2 years ended up being about 2 weeks. He was pretty weak going into everything, hadn't been able to eat for a while. And then the first round of chemo pretty much knocked him down and out, and he was pretty weak. And I remember going into the chemo class with him. My mom had been with him as things really got, we weren't really sure what it was. And so Mom had been living out of a bag pretty much as he got medevaced out of Klawock down to Ketchikan and then down to Seattle. Mom had been living out of a bag, and I had flown up from California, where I was living at the time, to kind of be with that. And then I flew with Dad down to Tucson, where we had a little condo, and where the treatments for the cancer were going to take place. And Mom went home to kind of collect herself and get some stuff together and get prepared to be with Dad through the summer and through whatever what was going to happen. But after the first round of chemo, that knocked him out pretty good, and so he passed away about 2 weeks after the doctor said he had 2 years. And so we were planning on 2 years, and then it was like 2 days later it was like maybe more like a year. A day later it was 6 months. It was just a really quick decline. So he passed away 2009, and I remember that summer being just weird, because my last words with him were, "You've been a great dad," and he said, "You've been a great son," which is a really, at that point still the doctors thought we had months together. And I don't even know what possessed me to say that, but those were my last words to him. I spoke with him on the phone, I think, in between then, but I don't remember that. So it was like, as far as I know in my head, those are the last words to him and his last words to me. But that summer was just bizarre, because I was back home, and after Father's Day, it was just this kind of blur of, all these thoughts and these things that I wanted to do. He and I had plans that year to bear hunt. We hadn't hunted much growing up. We moved up from Colorado when I was 5, and they were Mom and Dad were used to hunting mule deer and whitetail deer. And so the first time my dad we had a cousin that was up and shot a buck in the bottom of a muskeg or a clear cut up here. And it was such a pain to get out of the clear cut, and it was such a small amount of meat. And my brother and I were pretty young, so we were kind of, a kind of fish family only, and bought a boat. So we didn't do any hunting, but Dad was getting a little bit older, and so in 2009 I was like, "Dad, let's go out for a spring bear. Let's just go look around, do kind of that father-son thing." So we never got to do that, and so the whole summer after he passed, I was thinking about all the things that we didn't do. In the days after he passed, I couldn't help but just think about the bad things, the suffering that happened toward the end, and there for days afterwards, when I go to sleep, I just dream about the pain that he had to go through. And I even thought about things that I'd done years before that just maybe had disappointed him or had hurt him, and I just, it was I felt guilt for weeks. Fortunately, I was on Prince of Wales Island, so I was able to fish a lot. So rather than, kind of go to the bar and drown everything, try to figure that stuff out with booze, I ended up just fishing a whole lot. And I kind of, part way, maybe most of the way through the summer, I started getting this better feeling of accepting things. And there's kind of this difference between what you don't have anymore and what you did have. And it's this subtle mindset of having gratitude for the past rather than look at the present and feel sadness. So I started to feel a lot of that as I was getting later on in the summer. And as the school year started, I was still just kind of like numb. It was just strange and bizarre. And I just didn't feel totally with it. But after a while, I think the biggest thing was giving myself permission to have fun and be happy again. I think that's the thing with grieving, where at some point you feel like you just gotta either just toughen up and show no emotion, or you feel a duty to the loss to a point where you feel bad feeling happy again. And it's a stupid, weird thing, but you just feel weird having joy again. But then giving yourself permission to have that, I think that's an important thing of getting over it. And I know this Father's Day is going to be weird for a lot of people and sad and tragic for people who are experiencing their first Father's Day without their dad. And that's why I wanted to, felt compelled to do an episode about that, because I know there's people out there that this is their first one. And if I think about everything that Dad has missed, then that's kind of sad. But if I think about how proud Dad would be by what I've done, that makes things a lot better. I could look at the fact that Dad never got to meet my wife, but I can also look at the fact that Dad would be super, super stoked that I found a woman like Abby. And just that feeling of pride that he would have felt. And just knowing that is so, so unbelievably comforting to know that. And these are like the subtle things, that you kind of do and you kind of get through. And so when you have those weird moments, whenever even today, not today, but now when I'm at the school and the pep band is playing the Star Spangled Banner, I think about Dad because he was the music director. And I remember I played the trumpet in the pep band in high school, and I remember just how passionate he was about the Star Spangled Banner and how important it was that that people were paying homage to it. And he would have the percussionist continue the drum roll. He'd kind of look around the gym and would just continue the drum roll until everybody recognized that the Star Spangled Banner was about to be played. And once he felt that everybody in the gym was paying due respect, it wasn't like, didn't have the percussionist play the drum roll for, 10 minutes or anything like that. But, just give it enough time so that everybody recognized that the Star Spangled Banner was going to be played before he'd give the count to actually start playing it. And so every time I'm in a gym and I hear the pep band play Star Spangled Banner, I think about my dad, and it's like a good memory. And I remember those sort of little things, and I remember the best in it. Those first couple of weeks were really tough, and I remember the worst in it, and those memories are still back there. But it's just, there's like sad facts, and then there's the good memories that I hold on to, and those the ones that I have more of an emotional feel towards. And I'm happy, and I think about, Dad would have loved that, or like, Dad would love Abby, and those sort of things are great, and it's happy. I can move on, and like I said, giving myself permission to be happy again was something that was really big. But there are some weird moments and some difficult moments. His first birthday was tough. The first Father's Day, like I said, was tough. You're hearing all these advertisements for, get your dad this, get your dad this, get your dad this, and some of those things can be kind of a weird, kind of get in the head a little bit. I don't know. This isn't like an encourage people to just, I don't know what this is. This is just like, hey man, We go through these sort of things. It's difficult. People go through things, and if someone needs to hear that, it's okay to be happy again. You're not betraying the memory of your dad because you're happy again, and focusing on the positive things going on in your life right now that would make your dad proud. If this is your first Father's Day without your dad, or if it's been a couple and you're still grieving that loss, then it's okay to move on, because you're not forgetting. You're not betraying the memory. You're the best of you is living on, or the best of your dad is living on in you, and that's kind of something that I really held on to. So I don't know, it's super sappy, weird, maybe too emotional, to whatever, but I just wanted to put that out there to anybody who's kind of going through those first moments, or those first years, those trying times. So that's the end of the episode. Call that good for now, and we'll talk to you next time.